Assalamualaikum. Good evening. YB, I'm not a politician. You can take the mic for me. Selamat malam semua. I wish that it's okay for me to speak in a bit of English and a bit of bahasa Malaysia lah. Okay. Selamat malam Menteri Timbalan Menteri VC TNC dan pelajar-pelajar semua. I think this is macam sirih pulang ke gagang. Actually, I do a lot of business in Sabah. Okay, as you know that we are 𝙈𝙤𝙪𝙧𝙣𝙚𝙬. Maybe I need to do a bit of an introduction because YB everybody sudah kenal dia. Saya orang tak kenal. So 𝙈𝙤𝙪𝙧𝙣𝙚 has done quite a bit of business in Sabah. As a matter of fact, we used to sponsor Sabah soccer team many years ago. Masa Juve play, we sponsor Sabah team. We have a joint venture with Sabah government. We build with the SASMA. As a matter of fact, the helicopter that goes offshore, 𝙈𝙤𝙪𝙧𝙣𝙚 is a joint venture back then. We have sold that joint venture to Yayasan Sabah. So tadi saya datang kat Sabah, saya rasa normally I can come to Sabah for two things. Number one is seafood. This is the best place in the world, saya rasa. Kedua is actually you want to avoid traffic jam. But today I got traffic jam in Sabah. So Sabah sudah maju sudah maju Dulu tak ada So it's all the difference, okay? Anyway, 𝙈𝙤𝙪𝙧𝙣𝙗 today is actually our 25th anniversary. 25th anniversary of 𝙈𝙤𝙪𝙧𝙗, okay? It was formed May 9th, 2000. But when the MOSTI called me and said, look, there is a TED talk dekat university. I'm a student. I used to be a student. I used to go to sekolah kampung and then went to MRSM. And I thought the future of the country is depending on the students. So I thought, okay lah, 𝙈𝙤𝙪𝙧𝙗 25 years anniversary kita boleh celebrate next week. We will come and talk to the student first today, okay? So this is a very important event, okay? So 3 years ago, maybe I try this. Is it work? Okay, yeah. Gambar ni saya on the way to actually making my mistake. I went to climb Gunung Kinabalu 3 tahun yang lepas. Tahun 2022. I just recover from COVID back then. I was a COVID survivor. And I was looking at that time and I was like, wow, beautiful sky. And at that time, the company, 𝙈𝙤𝙪𝙧𝙗 is, as I said, the first 20 years is always oil and gas. We hold a lot of patent. We do quite a lot of things. Our turnover is more than R1 billion a year in oil and gas. And then, but we pivot. We pivot 5 years ago because we think that oil and gas is, even though it's a very important industry, is going through some changes. Tengah melalui transformasi. People are moving towards hydrogen, as YB mentioned just now. People are using solar, renewables and all that. We have a foresight that this thing going to change. So 5-6 tahun lalu kita berfikir we want to change. And we want to change to something completely different. Okay? And when I was climbing to Gunung Kinabalu at that time, the board just approved for us to launch our 𝙈𝙤𝙧𝙗-1. And I was looking at it, it's like, man, kalau 5 tahun dulu people come and ask me to talk about space, saya tak tahu apa-apa. Okay? I'm a geoscientist by background, and then recently saya just graduate master in oceanography, and then I'm just pursuing my PhD in marine archaeology. Nothing to do with space, okay? But why space, okay? Because YB dah mentioned, it is important. Every time we wake up in the morning, our life revolves against space technology. And it's also probably one of the largest, growth business. Tak banyak business yang grow double digit every year, and space is one of them. This is just want to show you some of the launching of our satellite recently, okay?
NewSat 45, separation confirmed.
That's when we launch our satellite at, okay. The point that I want to say is dalam masa 3 tahun, we don't have, when the board approve us to launch this, we work our very hard untuk launch this. Maksud, apa yang saya nak sampaikan is everybody can actually do this, okay? 𝙈𝙗𝙗𝑠at-1 is the first commercially owned satellite after 𝙈𝙗𝙗𝙗𝑠at, okay? 𝙈𝙗𝙗𝙗𝑠at was like maybe 2007, so many years ago, okay? So this is our first satellite, okay? Selepas Malaysia is actually one of the earliest country in the world yang launch a satellite. We actually launched satellite earlier than Israel, actually, okay? But since 𝙈𝙗𝙗𝙗𝑠at, there is no program except for COM satellite, which is Miasat has done an extremely good job, okay? So, but commercial EO, this is the first one we launched using SpaceX. It is a 0.5 meters resolution, okay? It has a spectral imaging, but because kita join dengan constellation orang, kita boleh revisit Malaysia 7 kali satu hari, okay? Alright. So, apa yang kita guna untuk satellite? YB mentioned, okay? Later on saya akan tunjuk recent case of explosion in Putra Heights, how we have used this satellite technology, try to determine what has happened, okay? We are helping the authorities in determining some of the issues and what has happened during that time, okay? So these are the certain things that kita guna, sustainability, nak check forest, nak check pipeline. We are doing the pipe SSGP monitoring, 270 kilometers, working with Petronas. We're monitoring Cerun for JKR using the satellites that we have, okay? But more important thing is for students to know is why they're interested in satellite. This is a very big business, okay? Kita cakap lah kita minat sains ke apa, but at the end of the day, fulus juga penting, okay? So I think so this is already 500 billion business, 600 billion business, but it's growing at a rapid speed. 10 years from now, 2035 is 1.8 trillion size of business, okay? Banyak ni ba, 1.8 trillion is a huge business, okay? And in Malaysia, we are contributing a small portion of that only, all right? So what we need is a workforce, people like yourself, to support the government initiative, industry initiative, to make sure that at least we have some opportunity to make a dent inside here, okay? Malaysia is a very good high-tech export country. Kita rank always for the last 10 years, we rank top 10 in terms of export of high-tech. I think sebab kita ada menteri yang bagus kot. So I think YB already mentioned, so dabble into this again. Satellite ada 3 ya. Kita ada GPS, yang bangun pagi kita nak ke mana-mana, kita nak tengok Waze, kona kanan, kona kiri, that is GPS, alright? We have Baidu, we have what you call this GLONASS and all that, okay? Then geointelligence, this is the data that we take from space to make informed decision. Kadang-kadang kita buat decision, kita try je lah, kita not enough information. But with the geointelligence, using remote sensing, be it optical or INSAR or thermal, this is what we use. The third one is SATCOMs. This is for communication dan sebagainya, okay? But if you look at it, tadi YB had mentioned, a lot of people talk about space is about launching, about astronauts, about interplanetaries and all that. But that is a small portion of it. Industry actually. It's only 12%, okay? The rest of it is in application, where most of you have ability. Barrier to entry is lower than about launching, about infrastructure. This is about coding. How well can you do coding, at least especially in the application side, okay? This is ability. Everybody has an equal chance of doing this, okay? Kadang-kadang kita look at the moonshot, we say, okay, we want to lawan Elon Musk. Susah bah, okay? Kalau kita mau jadi Musk Elon bisa, tapi bukan Elon Musk, okay? because sometimes they have so much things already, okay, so many things. But if you want to compete in the application, I think we can do it, okay, at least at the beginning. For example, the use from a space, as YB have mentioned earlier, untuk disaster management, so we can use it for sustainability. Malaysia still export a lot of commodities, okay? Starting this year, all the commodities that goes to Europe must comply to EUDR, EU deforestation, okay, policy. And this is not only commodities, but derivatives of commodity. Contohnya perabot. Kalau kita bukannya setakat balak, tetapi bukan setakat timber, bukan setakat kelapa sawit, but the derivative, sabun, which is come from palm oil, okay, or tires come from rubber, okay, furnitures come, it all has to have EUDR, okay, certification. And the compliance, sustainability will be one of the things that drive the keperluan untuk kita buat mendapat data from the space, okay. So these are the things that will drive it: food security, okay? Climate change, global security, orang berperang and all that. You heard, I mean, every day you will read the Bloomberg about the Ukraine war, how they have used a satellite to communicate, to pinpoint the targets and all that. We use, I mean, I can mention this, MINDEF has used some of the data from 𝙈𝙤𝙦 Sat1 to use for training, okay? They actually put it in their YouTube, how they use our data, okay? So satellite, dia punya kegunaan is agnostic, okay? You can use it anywhere if you want to, all right? So don't think that just because you learned medical or you learn, because sini saya dengar besar, UMS ada medicals punya faculty or engineering faculties or business faculty. Actually, you can get into the space even whichever things that you learn. I think that YB have mentioned that earlier, yeah? Okay. Why space matter to Malaysia? Okay, we talk about in Malaysia actually for self-reliance. Okay, at the end of the day, it's about self-reliance. The food security, kita still import makanan kita. Okay, imagine if we can produce padi 5 kali every 2 years. We probably don't need to import. Okay, but at the moment we cannot do it. The only have a high yield is kawasan apa itu yang very no, not in Kedah, in Selangor. This is probably have the highest yield. Sekinchan. Sekinchan has the beautiful place, but it has the highest yield. Okay, and they are already using some of the technology, using drones and all that. But this drone is too small for the large area like this. We have to use this. Okay, disaster management. Why we have mentioned it. Defense and intelligence. We are currently giving a POCs in terms of doing border penetration index to use. Satellite images to tell how easy people to penetrate our border. Okay, so technology sovereignty sekarang ni kita semua pakai orang punya. Okay, but this with the launch of 𝙈𝙤𝙦 Sat1, PSPJN yang YB mentioned, slowly we are become self-reliance. Okay, and obviously this is going to become a source of income and employment. Under Malaysia Space Exploration 2030, the target is the space industry akan memberi 10 bilion satu tahun contribution to GDP, and also melahirkan 5,000 pekerjaan, high paying jobs to all the people in Malaysia. So this is a very important industry that we need to be in. Okay? I mentioned earlier, Malaysia is always this is data from MIND, okay, ranked very highly in terms of our ability to export high tech. So kadang-kadang bila kita nak lawan ni, we need to know how good we are. Okay, I think we have a pedigree. Malaysian has a pedigree, and we need to be confident that we can do it, because we already show that we are actually one of the top 10 exporters for the last 10 years. Okay, since 2013, we maintain our position as a top 10 exporters in the country. I think we can do the same for space industry as well, but it will take time. Okay, YB mentioned when they started, their GDP is only 1,000. We are $11,000 US now, so we have a good chance for doing it. We have a good AIT system at Banting. Dr. Elena is there, and we have a very strong ENE industry in Penang. All those give us backbone to make sure that our space business has a good chance in fighting with to be a top leader. Okay. So what is your role as a student? It's pretty diverse. You mean you can be engineer, okay? It can be data scientist. It can be policy and law. Some of you, I don't know whether there is a law faculties over here or not, but if you are, if it's not, but there is people, I mean, we have Encik Fairuz here on the BPA who is looking into this, all right? And then entrepreneurs, like myself, who wants to get into a business, okay? Tadi YB had mentioned about startups. We need a strong startup punya community to help to grow this industry. So, and this begin normally from student, okay? So you guys has a good chance of contributing to the countries as well. And one thing that if you doing into space business ni, satu benda yang saya rasa, we kadang-kadang rasa macam superhero. Saya itu hari nak check belakang rumah mak saya ada something, ada tak? I asked Uzma Set 1 to go and look at it. So sometimes you feel powerful at the moment. So because the satellite belong to ourselves, I just open my phone, touched it. Betul ke belakang rumah mak saya ni sudah ada hakisan. So sometimes you feel a bit powerful. So, but in reality, you can solve the world problem with space technology. Forest fire, use a satellite monitoring. Okay. In food security, use algorithm and 𝐷𝐵𝐼 using the data from space to tell whether there is enough the health of the tree, health of the pokok, health of the padi dan sebagainya. Maritime security ada AIS, okay? Sabah is one of the porous border, okay? So climate change, we can use EO data. So sometimes you feel very powerful when you have the data with you, okay? So I feel that if you want to be superhero, don't look down, but look up, because the solution is up there in the space, all right? So right now, I'm going to just give you some of the example of actual application. This is what happened dekat Putra Heights, okay? So if you look at it, this is all the data that we get it from satellites, okay? The reduction in green intensity before and after. But the more important thing, this is nothing lah. Kita nampak memang rosak. You can see from the mata and all that. But more important thing is, the next slide is, we go back into history. We go back 2 years into history. We check the data. Apparently 2 months before the explosion, the soil has been disturbed. Kita dah nampak kat sini, there is already sand, tanah has been subsidence. It's a subsidence of 4 inches of land since February this year, okay? And this is telling, something has caused it, okay? Kerja saya bukan inspector nak tahu siapa yang cause and what that, but I can show it evidently using satellite data, something has caused tempat yang meletup tu, yang kawasan merah, there is a subsidence of about 4 inches, slowly, since February, okay? And this data has been shared with the authorities, okay? They will use this for investigation, okay? And I can share this because we asked for permission to share this, okay? This is a landslide in Cameron Highland, okay? We just came back and have a discussion with JKR. Orang asli, they are exposed to potential landslides and all that. This is actually post-analysis. Before this, we want to show if I have a data, can we avoid landslide or not, okay? Landslide ni dah terjadi 2011, and we go back into time, we take the satellite data, we try to simulate. It shows that the data from PRISM, which is in situ measurement, but if I use the ALOS data from a satellite, it mimics what happened, okay? Rasa macam superhero kadang-kadang, okay? Tapi I tak pakai capes lah. But this is sometimes that science can solve a real world problem. Okay, that's the key thing that I want to say to you. Okay, this is in Pendang, banjir recently. Okay, this is a I don't know, maybe if you look at it, it was the problem with the banjir. Sometimes you don't know macam mana nak hantar bantuan. So we use some data. This is optical data. Not much you can tell. But then we use analysis, NDWI, okay, to see where the water is. Then we know jalan mana terputus dan sebagainya. We use this, give this data to NADMA so that they can find the better way to send the help to orang yang terkena lah. Okay, so all this come from the sky. Okay. So this is a lot of solution that you can solve using data from the sky. Okay. So I hope you guys are excited to be a spaceman or spacewoman. Okay. Bukannya pakai baju nak jadi astronaut and all that, but rather be in the lab doing coding and all that and solve the problems. Yeah? I have my colleagues here, Arthur, who actually this kind of thing using drone in the past. But now we want to look at a bigger area. Drone ni boleh tengok kecil je, okay? So, but horses for courses, okay? So, this is a few things that I feel like is very important for young generation to know. Space is a big potential, number one. Number two, we can solve real world problem. And everybody can get involved. Be it you are a scientist or you're accountant or business, everybody can get involved in that, okay? So, I think that's probably towards the end of my presentation. The ecosystem in Malaysia is still at nascent stage. Okay, MOSTI is obviously the OGs of the space. Okay, the real original gangsters of the space. They are the owner of space industries in Malaysia. Bawah dia ada BPA, ada MISA, ada various other agency. Okay. But under there is also Mike and Masik. I'm a pro-tem president of Masik right now. There's a few members of Masik punya members that hope to spur interest in the space business as well. Okay. Before I leave, I just want to give you some satu project yang I feel like, man, this is out of this world. Okay. And if I'm a scientist by background, if I'm a science, I call myself a scientist. Like, when you don't know, I'm a geoscientist, okay? I get excited about this. You know, in Malaysia, we don't have, we actually blessed, but in Sabah, we don't have enough energy, for example, okay? But in the world, there's a lot of places doesn't have enough energy. Even in Malaysia, we have launched LSS1, LSS2, LSS5, LSS5 Plus. The solar is still not enough to replace a normal energy. The closest place, what people say is put the what you call this windmill at where the wind blow, put the sun where the sun shine. Okay, so the closest place to put solar is closer to sun. Okay, so I met this owner of Seraphim a few years back, and he invested in one company that tried to build solar farm in space. Can you imagine? Because it's closer. It's closer to space. Closer to sun, you can harvest more. And there's enough technology that you can actually transmit, tak payah pakai wire, wirelessly the energy down to ground. Macam science fiction kan? It is at the moment, okay? It is at the moment. But we need people like yourself, future scientists, future innovators to make this dream as a reality. Okay? And I think Malaysia can contribute to this because we have a lot of good people and good, student as well. I think that's probably enough for tonight. Okay, I hope everybody is excited about space, and hopefully I can answer more questions later. Thank you very much. Okay.